welcome back to A Better World. This is your host, Mitchell J. Rabin, and I'm very glad you're joining us again today. Today we're going to be continuing on with our guest, Sheri Winston, who is a midwife, a gynecology practitioner, and a registered nurse, and has a list of different credentials in the holistic health world, and most recently, actually for nearly a decade, has been a sexuality and sex educator, and is the author of this book, Women's Anatomy of Arousal, Secret Maps to Buried Pleasures, something we all want to know more about. And for those of you who saw last week's show, you know that we were really looking at sex and sexuality from a very large, almost global / anthropological point of view, and looking at it even behaviorally in the mammalian world, and what sex means and how human beings have come to embody it, depress, suppress, repress it, and how we also, because of consciousness and the human level of adaptation and advancement / evolution, can use and enjoy and have sex even beyond periods and times of fertility, unlike any other mammal. So that is positioning us for today's show, where we're going to really be going into the nature of courtship and what goes on when we really focus into the depths, if you will, of the subject of male and female sexuality, and actually beyond. But we're going to be focusing primarily on that. So Sheri, good to have you back.
Oh, a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me back.
Absolutely. You know, I have to say, your book is so good. It just is so replete with interesting images as well as quotes. I mean, one after the other is just so enjoyable. Of the delights of this world, man cares most for sexual intercourse, yet he has left it out of his heaven. Isn't that interesting? Mark Twain. Wow. You know, well, we looked at the sort of some of the religious underpinnings, if you will, and the complications involved on that level. Now I'd really like to get into more the focus of what goes on in our relationship of humans.
Excellent. So we've looked at the big picture, and now we're going to bring it in.
The micro.
Now we're going to look at sexual energy and polarity, attraction, desire, and the way we play with other people.
Yeah.
And again, we talked about this in the last show, but if people didn't get that part, we were using a framework of energy, of qualities. And we can call that yin energy,
right,
what we think of as the feminine, the ability to open and to receive, and yang energy, or the masculine, or the ability to do and penetrate. And of course, we embody that in ourselves, and we each have both of those qualities. It's really important to understand no one is just one.
We've covered that. Now let's move into, we understand that. Let's go into the real play of, in this case, we're going to be focusing on man and woman. And what is, when you understand that we are both, of course, but there's a certain difference, of course, in physiology, which invites a certain kind of behavior. And man is one way, woman the opposite. How do we work that through?
So if we look at it from that energetic perspective, most of us have a core energy that's our stronger, more central energy. And for most women, that is yin energy.
Yeah.
It's cool and it's slow and it's watery, and it starts out here, outside of ourselves. And it has to move in towards the center. And it has to go from being cool and slow to coalescing and getting hotter.
As it says in the Taoists, I am a Taoist, men are quick to boil, but women are slow to cook.
That's a very perfect analogy, because that yang energy, which is the core energy of most men, is hot and fast and fiery. And where does it start? Right there. It starts in the genitals. And men, or core yang people, can have sexual energy that's just genital energy. and genital exchange, and it never has to go anywhere else. For most women, most of the time, it doesn't work that way. And so if you want to engage a woman's sexual energy, you don't try and play with it the way you would play with a man's sexual energy. The other analogy that I like to use is what I call the pussies and puppies school of love. Because that yin energy is very much like pussycat energy. And that yang energy is very much like puppy dog energy. And if you
It's really
want,
true.
it's really true. If you want to make friends with a pussycat, you don't run up and grab it and rub its tummy, because you're going to get clawed. She's going to run away, and she's not going to trust you, because yin energy, most women's energy, cannot open unless we feel safe.
Yes.
We have to feel safe, and you don't just dive in to the center of the target. That's going to make us close up. Yin can open and it can close. We don't feel safe, we close. Yang energy, that puppy dog energy, it's fun and playful and enthusiastic. And when it's unschooled, right, a badly behaved dog, right, that's the one that knocks you over and starts humping your leg.
Exactly.